Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Garnett-Tools. Today we're going to do a little bit of a who did it best showdown versus between the long reigning champ, the brute from Vampire Tools, and the newcomer screw removers from Fujiya. And something I want to get out of the way really quickly is that both of these products were sent to me free of charge. Fujiya and Vampire Tools actually have no connection. They are completely different companies. The results here may not be what you expect, so you're going to want to stick around for this one. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe if you're not already and hit that bell to be notified of all my latest uploads. To kick it all off, these are the VT002-6 or brute pliers from, of course, Vampire Tools. They are a pair of pliers that I reviewed in a previous video, and I'll be sure to leave a card or a link in the description to that video. But those of you who want a quick overview, they have a capable enough side cutter, the interweaving teeth that allows it to grip very thin materials, comfortable grips, and holes drilled through into the entire handle, not just the rubber piece of the handle. And of course, they have the teeth in the tip that allow you to grab damaged screws. Now, when we move over to the Fujiya, it definitely feels like this is a more of a bare bones product. Not to say that it is a bad product, but what they have done to this pair, they have done well. The rubber here is a little higher density than the Vampire Tools, and it actually makes it feel like it's a little more high quality. The finish on the Vampliers brutes are a black phosphate, but the finish here is going to be that polished and ground finish with a clear coat applied. Both products have the product information laser etched directly on the face of the plier. The cutter on this pair actually is a much wider blades, and the teeth there, very fine. They don't interweave, but I found that they are still able to grab thin materials like pieces of paper. But what you do have is the same teeth in the front that are intended to remove screws. And on both of these pliers, the screw removing portion is intended to remove the same exact size screws, which they're rated for 3mm to 9.5. So we're gonna move over to my little demonstration rig. Understand, I take care to say that it is a demonstration. So I drilled and tapped this to M6 by 1.0, both of these, cut the heads off, and we're gonna see if this works. So this is my normal use case scenario, what I would normally use these for, or in this case, these for. And we're gonna see which one actually does it better. So you can see I can't actually turn these. I staked them in the back, so they'll be difficult to turn. So first of all, we're gonna hit up the Fujiya. Now, like I said, with the spring with this one, and what I usually use these for, you know what I'm saying? This is pretty nice. So the spring goes ahead, and it helps me out quite a bit, and not having to relax my grip too much as to fall off of the broken bolt here. But I will add that, you know, the nose cone on the engineers or the Vampliers feel like they grab in better. But when it comes to turning, this is much easier. All right, because of that spring. And you can see how it's gonna chew up that fastener, of course, when you do that. But this is the main thing I use these for. I don't use them really for anything else because I don't encounter regular screw heads that are damaged all that often. So there it is. I think I'm all the way up, almost. And as you can see, yes, that worked pretty well. There we go. And we got it all the way out of there. You can see where I staked it right there. I don't know if you could tell that, but I staked it right there, so it'd be hard to turn. Now we're going to move next to the Vampliers, and they do have this kind of like rounded nose piece, and it enables it to get in there a lot up against something that's flat like this really easy. But when it comes to turning, it's a little, you know, a little more involved because you actually have to take care to open them a slight amount. But once you get in a rhythm, it kind of does that for you. But I still appreciate the spring simply because, you know, it springs open. And as you can see, both of these work. Both will get that job done for what I need them to do. And both will be acceptable in my line of work. So here's where that spring comes into play, where you start to get fatigue when you're turning the thing, and you know, the spring is just that much. I know I'm harping on it a little bit, but the spring helps out quite a bit. Given that the Vampliers are bare back here, I kind of wish they put that spring in there. That would make this like a perfect product. Now usually, it's odd for me to say because I usually don't like pliers with springs, because then I have to like get a zip tie and zip tie them closed to fit in my toolbox. And that's what I usually do, but yeah. So as you can see, let's see, is that, yep. We're free now, and yeah, there was the stake on that one, staked it there. So both of these were able to get that M6 by 1.0 screw well within their range, and I don't really think either one of them did it particularly better. The Fujiya do have different teeth on them, but like I said, the spring gives it a little bit of assistance when doing something like this. These are two button top screws in a little wooden block clamped to my workbench. Now we're gonna make sure that each of these are pretty tight, and that one cammed out, and on both of these, listen, there we go, that one. First up is the Fujiya NSP01-150, and these are both 6-inch pliers, and I'm gonna try to grab these things and blam. Here you go. It's very easy to spin. Twist this out. And I can say that the spring is a very nice addition to a pair of pliers like these. It just assists you in repositioning the plier each time you have to relax your grip and reposition it. It just makes it really nice. And there we are. The Fujiya took that out, and here we go with the Vampliers. Clamp this on here, and yes, as you can see, these both are going to be able to get these damaged screws out of this wooden block. And it actually at some points feels like the Vampliers are like slipping. Maybe they only are gripping the edges. It definitely seems like the Fujiya have a wider jaw opening in the front. It feels like the sides here are grabbing opposed to the actual screw mover teeth. But yeah, once I get this out, we're gonna have a look at that and check that. But as you can see, these still are able to pull out this damaged screw. So both of these guys really work to do this particular task. So here is the Fujiya, and you can see how it contacts that fastener, and those teeth are definitely look like they're biting in a little better than they are on these Vampliers. I don't want to say it's worse, but it definitely feels like the Fujiya have an advantage here, having a wider contact pattern on these screw heads. So who done it better? Well, I really don't think it's that simple of an answer. As you saw, since both of these tools have the dedicated teeth inside the tip of their jaws, they are able to remove damaged screws effectively. And they are also able to remove broken fasteners, as is something I do with them on the regular basis. Now, I think for what it's worth, the Fujiya actually have their place as compared to the Vampliers, because the Vampliers are more expensive. The Vampires, of course, are made in Japan. The Fujiya are made in Vietnam by the Japanese company Fujiya. The Vampires, more expensive, but I would expect them to be because they have more features. So when it comes down to this product, I think these are for those people who already looked at the Vampliers and already decided that they were way too expensive. These Fujiyas will run you $14 right now, directly on Amazon. And the Vampires, directly on Amazon as well, will run you $35. Now, even if you go directly to Vampire Tools' website and use that dedicated Garnett-Tools code to get 15% off, you're still going to be cheaper picking up the Fujiya. And when it really comes down to it, on a day-to-day basis, when I pull a pair of these pliers out, the only thing I'm picking them up to do is remove screws. I would never really use them for a lanyard. I would never really use them as a cutter. I would never really adjust things with those interweaving teeth, even though I did find that these are finer teeth in the tip of the Fujiya. They still can grab pieces of paper. I would never use those features. Only thing I'm opening this drawer for is to remove damaged screws. But if you like the black phosphate coating on the Vampires, but you still want to have a look at the Fujiya because they have the spring, Fujiya also offers this black chromed Kurokin version that additionally has a spring, but it is essentially the same pair of pliers. These are, of course, going to run you a little bit more, but that is to be expected with a more premium product. So at the end of the day, the choice is yours. They all work well. But that's it. That's all I have for you. I'll be sure to leave everything I talked about in this video in the description down below. If you like this video, make sure you drop a like, get subscribed, and consider checking out my support links that are also below. But as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!